I tend to kind of take things out on Phil Spencer quite a bit because he seems like he does say one thing and kind of do the other thing. And with that being said, I think that Phil is a decent guy. I just think that he's probably in over his head with a lot of this stuff. But he did come out and say some very interesting things regarding Xbox, and it sounds pretty good if we kind of get into it, and I thought that this was just the perfect idea to kind of talk about this kind of stuff because, again, everybody thinks that I'm just down on Xbox. I play Xbox, man. I want Xbox to be great. That's probably the biggest discourse between me and Xbox is I want Xbox to be great, and Xbox disagrees. It wants to be mid. And I think that it takes more than just powerful hardware. Obviously, it takes the games and stuff like that. But, we'll see how that works out. But let's go ahead and get started. What's going on, everybody? It's me, Crap Gaming, back with another video. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. If you guys wouldn't mind doing me one solid, slap that like button. We're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna have some fun. If you wouldn't mind slapping that like button, you faces and all you babies, go ahead, slap it hard, slap it once, slap it twice, slap it 3 times a lady. Yes, for me. Crap Gaming. Thank you. So anyway, Phil Spencer dropped some very interesting news. This really gets me excited. I hope that this comes sooner rather than later. One of the main reasons why I bought an Xbox One. I know some of you guys probably don't know this story, but I wasn't all into. I mean, I went to forums and stuff like that, but I wasn't like super on like social media or gaming forums and stuff like that. So I wasn't really super aware of the hatred that there was for the Xbox One when they announced it. I really was excited for Xbox One when they announced Killer Instinct. I have been completely bummed that they haven't announced a follow-up. It seemed like that did incredibly well, and Phil Spencer actually talked about a sequel to that. And it gives us at least somewhat kind of hope. And here's what he said. Xbox head Phil Spencer has reassured fans that he's keen on doing something with the Killer Instinct franchise. For quite some time, there have been several rumors going around about Microsoft eventually wanting to release a new Killer Instinct installment on Xbox. And on yesterday, there was a podcast that he was part of. The head of Xbox said the franchise surely hasn't been forgotten about and abandoned. On the contrary, he and Microsoft Studios head Matt Booty have been talking about the series quite often. And he says, and I quote, "There are so many good games in our back catalog that we'd love to visit." The response when we redid Killer Instinct at the launch of the Xbox One was fantastic. He also added, "I will say Matt Booty and I have discussed many times Killer Instinct and where we would like to go with it. And it's not out of our minds that it might be out of our minds, but it's in our hearts and in our minds that we want to continue to do something with KI." So in line with recent rumors, Spencer said that it's a matter of finding the right opportunity and getting a fitting development team on it. He said, "It's about finding the right team and the right opportunity, but it is not due to any kind of lack of desire on our part that we're not doing more with the KI because we love the franchise and the community response." Initially, as you guys might know, Double Helix Games, who is now part of Amazon Game Studios, did the 3rd installment in the Killer Instinct franchise when it was released as a free-to-play launch title for Xbox One back in 2013. The original developer, Rare, also has been involved with the reboot. 2 additional seasons developed by Iron Galaxy were released between 2014 and 2016. Iron Galaxy also ported the game to PC in 2016. So, my favorite fighting franchise, I know that's going to sound weird because everybody just expects me to hate on Xbox 24/7, but no, I really love Killer Instinct. I think it is a fantastic game. I want to see it back. It really kind of annoys me that we haven't seen anything about it, even though Maximilian, who's like a huge fighting game aficionado on YouTube, had it trending. There was tournaments and all this kind of stuff. We got no response from anybody about it. So yeah, very interesting that game. And you know what? Listen, they could do it the way that they did it and just in installments, and I think it'd be fine. I would absolutely love that. I just think that it really comes down to them wanting to do it. Like, they have all these studios. Why not just partner with the studio and get it done? Like, get it done. Come on, Phil. Stop talking the talk and actually walk the walk. The other thing was, he actually talked about quite a few things. This was very interesting because, again, it's actually something that I'm looking forward to from the Xbox side of things, which is Fable. And he gave a little bit of an update on the team and things like that. We haven't seen anything of the next entry of the Fable series in development by Playground Games, but it seems like players shouldn't be too worried about it. Speaking during the latest episode of the podcast that he joined, Xbox head Phil Spencer briefly commented on the game, saying that fans of the series should take confidence from Playground's work on the Forza Horizon series. He says, and I quote, "The only thing I can really say about Fable is seeing the pedigree of the team and Playground and where they set the bar for themselves in building a game. I think that showed with Forza Horizon 5 preview that they had. I think people should just take confidence in that studio director, Gavin, and the team that have been on the same level of focus on doing something amazing with an IP that we know is really important to a lot of Xbox fans. So we can't wait to show you more, but the team is just amazing." Now, obviously, Forza Horizon 5 was among the best-looking games shown this year at Microsoft's E3 press conference, so there's no doubt that Fable will look amazing. Well, how will it play? That remains to be seen. Fable will be the next entry in the series since Fable 3, really, and the canceled Fable Legends. Now, Fable 3 came out in 2010, believe it or not. They did the Connect Fable as well, and they also did which, had a decent story. They also did like this little arcade Fable game, which was okay. Fable Legends was canceled, obviously, and that game was a co-op game that was in development by Lionhead. Very little is currently known about the upcoming new entry in the series, other than the fact that it'll be powered by Forza Tech Engine, and it may feature some online interactions like co-op and things like that. So it's still probably a few years away. Maybe longer. I mean, we'll have to wait and see how that kind of works out. But yeah, very cool stuff to see that, they're at least talking about it and kind of getting people on board with, hey, you can trust a developer. Some people are hoping that it goes for a little bit darker tone. I hope that it has that really good, that dark humor that Fable was known for, because I think that you can't really get away from that. You really need that. And I hope that they continue to build off that, because I just feel like that game deserves a second chance and is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. So hopefully we get that sooner rather than later. That wasn't where the fun stopped. It looks like we're getting some information about Halo as well. Last week at E3, Microsoft provided a fresh look at Halo Infinite, but it held back on something rather important, a release date. While the company says Halo Infinite is coming this holiday season, a specific day has yet to be locked down, and of course, given this game's history, many fans pessimistically assumed the lack of a hard Halo Infinite date meant Microsoft still wasn't confident about its progress, and the game's launch date may slip yet again. Well, during a recent appearance on the Drop Frames podcast, Xbox head honcho Phil Spencer made clear that they actually have a fairly narrow launch window in mind for Halo Infinite. What he said, and I quote, "You heard Joseph Staten say this holiday. For us, we know our range in the 3-4 week range, but we don't have the exact day yet. There's some other things with some other game timing that we're trying to look at. We'll have better clarity over the summer. But this isn't a month's thing. This is just down to a few weeks. Instead of picking this date and having to move it by a week, which at this point would feel like a fail, we don't want to do that. Let's wait until we're solid on what the release date is, but the team's very committed to holiday. We feel good about that and the way Pierre and Joseph are running the team. I feel good about the confidence we have in both quality and getting the game done." So Phil Spencer doesn't really come out and say it, but it does seem like the lack of Halo Infinite release date has more to do with Microsoft wanting to get out of the way of another big game release, other than them being unsure whether the game will be done. And at this point, the only big AAA holiday game release that is yet to lay down a release date is Call of Duty. So if anyone had to guess, I'd say that's the conflict they're avoiding. They obviously don't want to come out and compete directly with Battlefield or Call of Duty. I feel like that probably wouldn't end well for them. They are doing this Halo game as a free-to-play multiplayer, and again, I'm sure a lot of people expect me to hate, but I'm not going to do that. I think that this is going to be the hugest, largest, spectacular launch of a Halo game that we've ever seen, and I do think that it's going to do extremely well, especially at launch. So yeah, you know what? I think that it's going to do extremely well. Now, further on down the line, how will the game do? I think that is where we'll start to see some interesting things come about, right? Like how it's going to be doing, 4 or 5, 6 months down the line. That's going to be the big question. Is it going to have enough content for people that far down the line? Is it going to please the newcomers that are just playing because it's free? And is it going to please the longtime Halo fans who are there you know, just because it's Halo. But are these changes going to be too much for it? I think that's something we're going to have to look at, and we'll see how it works out. You know, I'm excited to see how it does and how it plays, but I'm sure you guys are too. I'm going to link all this stuff. So really good news from Xbox today. Really cool stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Slap that like button. Crapgamer out.